All right, guys, welcome. Everybody, thanks for joining us today. So there's a bunch of industry news we wanted to jump on here and just have a chat about. So I'm going to lead with Lance. Lance, what is your response when you see an outside firm such as a hedge fund, private equity, or other invest in a privatized company?
It's always interesting to see. And I'll say hi, everyone. Hi, my name's Lance. I am the CEO at Realty.com. Thank you for having me here today, Ray. So I appreciate it all. It's really interesting to see because I have two views on private money. One, it's going to be an injection of cash into a company. It's going to help them build and help them get to the next level. Two, it's going to tie their hands. It's going to be so many rules and regulations and so many meetings. It's going to crash a company and make them burn. So I've seen it on both sides. I've seen when an injection of cash just destroys a company. I've seen when injection of cash helps them grow. So it's going to be really interesting to see here what they do with this. I think it's Pioneer, if I'm correct, is the capital company. That what they do, they inserted a new CEO and everything they do. And I hope KW prospers with this new injection of cash. But I hope now that they're going from basically kind of running it all themselves, and now they've got someone really to answer to, it's going to be a completely different dynamic within that ecosystem.
Okay, so our friend Josh, the CEO of Epique Realty, was laughing at you, Lance. So I'm dying to hear his response. Josh, who are
No,
you?
I
Share,
agree.
man.
I agree. So there's pros and cons to this. So the pros are they make it some more technology, some more platforms, things like that for the agents. And Gary Keller is going to do pretty well. What ends up changing is you lose a little bit of your brand identity. Things kind of stay the same for, the first 6 months to a year. And then the changes start happening. Like, oh, everything's going to be the same. That's how it always is. Oh, we're not changing anything. And then not yet. And then things start changing. It's you just have another chef, back there cooking with you. It's going to change the flavor a little bit. And I agree with that. I was laughing at the rules and all that stuff because when you are a private company, like we're a private company, you can kind of just do what you want. But when you bring in investors and that kind of thing, they don't like having all of those liabilities. They don't like changes as quickly as you can do them. So it's going to change the dynamic of the way the company's ran for sure. Now, whether that's a net positive or net negative is yet to be seen. It just depends on how their investors are looking at their company. Are they looking at it as this is a company that needs to change, or let's just invest because they're doing everything right?
Yeah,
So
I completely agree with Josh. It could add a bunch of benefits. It could add really good infrastructure. It could be a culture shift or not. I was part of a company that got acquired, and we went from being a private company to where we could go sponsor a UFC fight and take 50 people to Vegas to where everything became about a meeting about a meeting. And we used to have a thing, no scope of support, and then all of a sudden we had a scope of support. We used to have 100% Houston and Dallas-based servers, and then all of a sudden all our servers were going to Utah. All of a sudden outsourced support started happening. All these changes started happening because it became less about serving the customer, more about the bottom line. So I've seen the negative impacts can have, and then I've seen the positive impacts can have. The employees got better benefits on the acquisition. People got raises on the acquisition. Pricing came down a little bit. So there's always things that happen when private money acquisitions, all those things come in where it's like it's two sides of the same coin. You just never know what's going to happen until it starts happening. But as I've said, like I really hope that this injection of capital helps KW prosper. It's going to be really interesting to watch to see how it goes over the next 12 to 24 months. And as Josh said, the first 90 to 180 days, they feel the same. It's really the first year plus is when you start feeling those changes.
yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I've been behind a couple companies going public, and it was different. First 3 months, 6 months, sure, fine, business as usual, but then things do start changing for sure. Veronica, you've been on a roller coaster in the real estate world, right? Like that's probably an understatement of the year to say. What's your perspective on something like this? Knowing what you know and building what you've created over the last 5 years.
I think Keller Williams has gone through a lot. I have a lot of friends at Keller Williams. I want to start off by saying I love Keller Williams. I was an agent at Keller for a while, and I have a lot of respect for KW. I think what's important to what you guys just touched base on, right? At the beginning, it's not going to feel any different. I don't think so. But leadership changes, right? This can look like it's going to be leadership changes. I think about those who own a region, franchise owners. I don't think it's really going to change the agent. On the, in the grand scheme of things, the agent will still be able, will still love Keller, and they're still going to do some really cool things. And like Lance says, this injection of cash could probably help them innovate in some of the areas that perhaps maybe they have not innovated, or, again, whatever that might look like for the company to innovate with this new leadership or new private equity firm being a part of their company. But for me, I was a franchise owner. And I, come from a franchise world, and I know that a lot of the franchise owners or market center owners, again, I think they're the ones who are going to be the most impacted, right? What is this going to look like for them? And I put my hat on when I was a franchise owner at Remax, and how although I was independently owned and operated, there were certain rules that I had to follow. And I'm curious to see how this is going to affect them. Those market center leaders, those regional leaders, they're the ones that I'm thinking about the most, of like, how is this going to help them? Is this the road to IPO for them? Maybe this is their ticket to finally saying, look, I stuck through this. This is a good thing for us, if they go that route. So there's a lot of pros and cons, but we do know that Keller has gone through a lot of leadership changes over the last few years. So I think hopefully this is going to be a positive for them. And if this, new strategic partnership is going to come in with a better plan for leadership to stay a little bit more consistent and a little bit longer. I mean, how many CEOs have they had in the last, I want to say, 5 years? I think it's time for Keller Williams to get a little bit of some consistency in that, I would say, in that realm.
Great.
Yeah, so an injection can go one of two ways, right? It can build a company and take it to another level, or it can tank the company depending upon who's pulling the strings and where the leverage is. So Lance, Josh, I want to ask you guys this question. You guys are both tech founders of tech-based companies with the AI, SaaS, all of that stuff behind it. What do you think KW would benefit from levers being pulled with an injection of cash?
Josh, you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah. So Keller Williams is a lot of things right. The problem is that tech is it's a moving target for one. Just when you think you've got it figured out, it completely changes, as we've all seen in the last maybe 18 months. And an injection of cash means that they're going to be able to, instead of playing catch up with some of the other companies that are out there, I think we're all in a way playing catch up to what's happening. But maybe being able to build something exclusive like some of these other brands have, and really build something great that's maybe AI based or something that currently doesn't exist. And I think that'd be a net positive for the agents who are there, and give the company a little bit more of an edge than it's had. Keller Williams is a traditional brokerage, and that's how it's been seen. They've been around for a long time. They're a very solid and established brand, and that has its pros and cons. And the pros are that you feel comfortable, you feel safe being there, but comfortable and safe don't equate to exciting either. So you kind of want to have both. You want to be an established company that is constantly innovating, and I think this will help them do that. So I think it is a positive. Like I said, there are pros and cons to these situations, and the pros are that you get this cash, you can buy new platforms, you can build new tech, and the cons are that it's going to change the leadership, as Lance said, and it's going to change the image of the company in a lot of ways. So we don't know if it's going to be good or bad, but there is something that is certain, is that things will change because of it.
Yeah, one of the most amazing things that I think should change. Interesting thing, we all know, if we're in the KW and tech ecosystem, we know KW built Command, and it took a long time to build Command. And here's the most interesting thing: Follow Up Boss, Lofty, KV Core, Sync, every single one of them, we have API integrations for free. And one of the first changes KW should make is that if we're trying to send leads over as Realty.com to KW agents through Command, we shouldn't need to pay an integration fee to API into your CRM. So things like that at KW, it just shows how behind the times they really are on some of this stuff. Is they should focus on AI, focus on integrations, focus on partnerships. And that's one of the big things, is paying for an API integration to send your agents opportunities. It's just something that I believe leadership should look at immediately. And compared to all the other brokerages, including EXP, Epique, everyone, I've never heard of anything like that until they proposed it to us probably about 6 months ago. So it just gives you an idea of the mentality over there.
At the end of the day, I think I want to say, for the average agent who's there, It's really what you want to know is, are these changes going to help you sell more homes? Are they going to get you more clients? Are they going to make you more money? Are they going to make you more? Their overall stability and whether or not they look good to investors and all of that stuff really don't hold that much weight as they would at like a company like ours. And at our company, every agent is a shareholder, right? So that stuff is really important to them, where we're investing the money, whether or not we have, debt, whether or not we are bringing on investors and PE firms. All of that's very important to our agents because they are all shareholders in the company, right? But that's not necessarily true for Keller Williams. They didn't open it up for their agents to own it unless you want to buy into a franchise. They opened it up for private investors, right? So for the average Keller Williams agent, that stuff isn't that important. What's going to be important is what changes that new PE firm will bring in to the company, and if that's a good thing for them, or if the investors are more expenditure minded, they might be looking at cutting things as opposed to adding things. So you have to know more about this investor and what their goals are. I can't imagine they do any of that in the beginning in the first 180 days, but if they're looking to kind of clean up the balance sheet, because none of us know what they look like, it's a privately owned company. If they're looking to clean up the balance sheet, that could mean very different things than if they want to add and reinvest into the company. So, you really don't know what's going to happen there.
I love that, Josh. I want to move to the human element of the company. And Veronica, I'm going to call on you. When people come into your house and you don't know them, it's scary, right? So for leadership changes, for a new partner coming in, regardless of how much control they may have or may not have, what are some things that you would tell agents to help them kind of cope with the situation as changes start brewing?
I want to start off by saying, like, I've had the pleasure of meeting Gary. I've had the pleasure of sitting with him and really hearing his heart. I think Gary loves this company more than anyone else. And I think he's going to do right by, again, for the overall good of the company. This is not a bash KW session. This is about, like, hey, the industry's changing, and good for Gary. He has built something so special. Good for him. Invested millions of dollars in, tech, when reality is KW to me has always been one of the best training companies in the real estate space. And I will still say that to this day. I'm very proud of our company and the direction we've gone, and how much progress we've made. But KW did lay a really strong foundation for a lot of our success. So I want to just say congratulations to Gary. I really hope that this injection of cash and what they're going to invest in is going to be, again, to help continue to propel the company and innovate. And I do think there has been, this shift in the industry, right? We're seeing different models, and our model, just like Josh's model, is starting to pop up more, right? I don't think there's any other company that's going to start now that's going to look like the traditional brokerage model, unless it's an independent, mom and pop agent style, independent brokerage. But I want to say, I think that they're going to use this money to innovate. When you do have someone coming into your home, right? Yeah, it does feel a little scary, but I think if I know what I know about Gary, because he is a mentor to some of my dear friends, Gary is still going to have an opinion. He's going to still have a voice. But I think he's going to protect the house. He's going to protect his babies, right? He's going to protect his family. Although changes are going to, obviously, what I believe, which we're all saying, they're going to eventually start to occur, whether it's a couple of years down the road or a year down the road. I think Gary's going to make sure that the culture at Keller Williams, which is what it's always been known for, is protected. At least that's what I believe, because I have experienced Gary. I know the people that he personally coaches and mentors. So I think everyone is going to be safe in the short term, for sure. But I believe that Gary's going to do a good job to make sure that the culture is protected, which is one of the things that I think Keller Williams has always been known for. I don't agree that it was known to be a tech company. That's the part where I'm going to say I think they missed the mark there. And hopefully they invest in the right tech this go around.
Yeah, I completely agree with Veronica. I spent a lot of time at Keller Williams Family Reunion and other Keller Williams events, and work with a lot of Keller Williams agents, and the training is top notch. And that's one of the great things about Keller Williams. And every Keller Williams agent I've ever worked with has been amazing on that regard, because they're just all about their training. Like they're conditioned and know that they should go through training. The agents they bring on their team should go through training. everyone should go through training. So as long as that training ecosystem stays within KW, it's going to continue to just be that hub where you get trained to be the best you can be. And they might not be a huge tech company, but as long as they're able to train, they'll continue to prosper. And with that injection of cash, I think it should go towards AI. It should go towards better integrations, new benefits, and different stuff like that.
Yeah, I would say that that what you're saying is dead on, Lance. Is that Keller Williams is known for as the place for new agents. Just saying Keller Williams to an agent, their first thought is going to be training, right? Because that's what they're known for, and so it has really become a hub, and they really have nailed the training mark. I mean, they invented the structured training for real estate agents, so that's what they're known for, and I think as long as they have that and they're known for that, I think that they'll continue to thrive in that area. The question really remains is how will this change with the existing agents who are there? They're the ones who are going to feel the change. New agents won't know about the change. So how will this affect the people that have been there for decades and are used to something? I mean, there's been several changes over the years with Keller Williams, and this is only going to push more change. And so I think it's going to be a mixed bag of good things coming from it and maybe not so great things coming from it as they add new things and cut other things. That's pretty normal.
Yeah.
So I think, Lance,
go
I think one of the things that's interesting, right, is there's always the challenge of an initiative being pushed and an initiative being adopted. With where we're at in real estate today, I don't care if it's a franchise-based model or a cloud-based model. How do we bridge that gap? Like, what does that look like so that we collectively as a group can do a better job at driving adoption for what's best?
Exactly. So yeah, so I think that's a great thing. So Ray, let's move on to the next subject here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Josh, where's technology going, man?
I think that we all kind of know that it's going towards AI. AI is kind of a blue ocean. You hear about it a lot. It reminds me of really kind of when the internet actually got popular. Yes, I'm old enough to remember when the internet got popular, but it's a blue ocean in that it's going to be integrated into everything, just like the internet has been integrated into everything. Electricity has been integrated into everything. It's going to affect every aspect of our life, and so there's going to be more and more adoption of AI and different technologies, and it'll do everything from creating your listing presentations to marketing your listings for you. And we're already using a lot of those things currently, and we have more to add. And I think that that's the way technology is going: more automation, more produced. And AI is not going to replace real estate agents, but what will happen is that agents who are using AI will replace real estate agents, because you'll be able to do 300-400 listings without building a team, without that human having all of those humans. Each person on your team will be able to do hundreds of listings at a time and be able to take that on because of AI. And I think that's where it's going, and it does mean that the number of agents will probably shrink, and the agents who are using AI and able to take on that business will rise to the top. And so I think the adoption of AI is a long-term strategy. So many brokerages see it as a recruiting marketing strategy for them to put on their recruitment page. We have some sort of AI. That is so short-sighted. Bringing AI into your business is a long-term strategy to help you build your business over time, and you're going to need to adapt with it in order to really survive. I mean, imagine trying to do real estate the way that you did it in the 80s today. It just wouldn't work. And so I'm clinging on to, you can be a traditional model, but you still have to keep up with the changing technologies in some way, shape, or form. And AI is that next wave revolution that the internet was. And so anybody who thinks it's a buzz or it's a fad, you sound like a lot of people from 1992 who said that the internet was just a fad or social media was just a fad. And people have built trillions of dollars off of social media, and even more so off of the internet. And this is that next wave. And so if you're not a part of it, you're already in the past. So yeah.
I love it. Lance?
Yeah, so no, I completely agree with Josh. If there's anyone denying that AI is about to change the entire landscape of tech, they're delusional, is the best way to put it. And calling everyone delusional, that's not the right thing. But like, AI has already changed tech faster than anything I've ever seen. I used to be the CEO of the largest privately held web hosting company in the world, hosting 7 million websites. So, and the amount of changes I've seen in 1 year just from AI alone is incredible. Like, to give you an idea, we are now at this point, doing AI calling for our leads, and we're using it where people can't even tell it's AI, and it's about to end the VA world. I think in a year and a half from now, there'll be no reason for you to have a VA to do any type of phone calls, because AI will be able to take it all over. AI is going to do more for the agents in the next 24 to 36 months than the agents have gotten in the last 5 to 10 years. Like, it's completely changing the game, and you should immerse yourself in AI every single day and figure out how it can help your business, what it can do for you, whether it's transaction coordination, helping you with phone calls, helping you do leads. If it's helping you organize your business, it's going to make you better and better every single day. And it's not a buzzword. It's really a revolution right now. Is a good way to put it.
Yeah, and I think agents will find these tools. And by the way, it's not ChatGPT. If you guys are still just using ChatGPT, I mean, it's like using Ask Jeeves when Google came out. It's just it's not going to be enough for you to sustain your business. But it's really going to be up to you guys. Can find your own AI tools, and that's what agents will do if their broker isn't offering it. But your broker really should, because they're going to be able to leverage some much bigger platforms for all of their agents, and you'll be able to get on your own. The brokerages are going to have to adapt and adopt. They can't just leave it up to their agents to find their own AI tools. They're going to have to bring it in. It's important.
And I know both the brokerages represented here are heavily working on AI, which is great to see. I work with both of you guys pretty closely, and I just see AI coming in every aspect of both of your businesses. And here's another thing, guys. AI is going to replace millions and millions and millions of jobs in the next couple of years. So now is the time for you to create generational wealth, for you to work really hard, and for you to become that dominant realtor. Because there's going to be millions of people getting let go because AI trying to get a real estate license, trying to come compete with you.
Yeah, and it's where and I think somebody even asked that where do these people go? They go to the same place, the gas agent attendants and the overflow cashiers, and they go somewhere, they go into another position, because the reality is that it's not a technology that we can stop and roll back. We can't bring back the gas station attendants who are going to pump your gas for you, and we can't bring back the VAs to answer simple questions that can now be answered by a chatbot. I mean, it really is going to change things for them, but it's also going to change things for the entrepreneur and the real estate agent, who can a chatbot can take on 10,000 conversations all at once. That's something that you would have to hire a team of people, a whole separate company maybe to handle for you currently, if you're using human capital. So the ability to scale your business is going to be huge, huge. And it does mean that you'll be able to, as you get bigger, hire employees for the things that you do need humans for. And so there is that kind of trade-off. But it's just a reality. I'm sure the internet replaced a lot of places. Zoom replaced a lot of commercial buildings. There's going to be a lot of replacement going on, but people need to jump on board now or get left behind.
So what are some of those I'm speaking for the agent, right? Because I'm an agent at heart. I'm a team leader, and I'm someone, okay, we might say, hey, I've been in the game for a long time. This is another change, right? This is another shift. I think what we could do is give a couple of the agents who are on here a little, like, some tips, right? We were just with Tom Ferry, Lance and I, we were just with Tom Ferry, and Tom was really adamant about, like, how do you break through Sheehan's wall, right? Of being known and making sure that you are the dominating agent in your market. I think that's where AI obviously can help you be way more efficient, really come up with a strategic plan, right? But some of the tools that you would recommend, being that, Lance, you're in this every single day. I mean, you're working in my database, you're helping us, convert deals. We're testing AI in our database. We are using it for recruiting. We are using it for reviving listings. How can agents on this call, right, today, get comfortable with just embracing this and just saying, okay, start with this? So while we were with Tom said, look, if you're using ChatGPT, you're way behind. Perplexity, right? He was like Grok X, he was throwing out some other tools that perhaps agents aren't familiar with. What can we arm them with? Because you guys are so, advanced, I would say, in the space. What can an agent, perhaps take a look at that they're not familiar with today?
I'm going to let Josh take that one, because he's even deeper in AI than I am.
Yeah, so I'm a developer. I'm the CEO of Epique, but I'm also a developer, and so we make a lot of our own stuff, and we're building out some AI tools now that will launch in January, or I'm sorry, in June. But somebody said it perfectly in the chat. Regular agents are not tech people. That's where their brokerage will make a big difference. So you do have to rely a little. If you're not a tech person, you don't know. You're going to come to meetings like this, and we can spout off a few things. But the reality is a year ago I would have told you to use ChatGPT, and today I would tell you not to. And that is because things change very quickly. And either you're going to stay on top of it or your broker is. And if you're not a tech person, you're going to have to either align yourself with tech, you're going to have to align yourself with tech people and in order to kind of stay on top of it. And so, not all of our agents are tech people. We're the first AI tech brokerage. Our Epique.ai service was released 2 years ago, to the public, and RealTrends named it as the #1 AI tool for realtors at the time. But even that is being replaced by some of the new things that we're working on now for our agents. But I can throw out some names, different things that you guys can use. But the reality is, in just a few months, it might be something different. You're going to have to work with some tech people. You're either going to have to hire them, or you're going to have to hire them at your broker, or push your broker to do it. The reality is that KW just got a lot of money, and if I were an agent there, I'd be pushing them to spend that money on the agents. I'd be saying, hey, you guys just got a lot of cash. We need something. We need this. We need that. Why don't we have this? Why can I get this at EXP? Why can I get this at Real? Why can I get this at Epique? How come I can't get this here? You guys just got a lot of cash. I know you got the money. Like, where's the software? Because taking care of the agents is the most important thing you can do as a brokerage. And leaving your agents behind is just not an option if you actually care about the growth of your company. You can't leave the agents behind. So yeah.
Said.
Guys, one of the things
What
that,
are some of
sorry, who's talking?
Someone unmuted. It's all right.
Guys, one of the things you're talking about here, we're talking about the shift from human capital to deployed technology to take over processes, to take over procedures. Like, what does that look like inside of a company for disruption of their day-to-day?
Oh, I'll tell you what it looks like here, because we launched a year ago Broker AI. Broker AI is crazy, and I'm not pitching our services. I want you guys just to know we have trained AI on every law of every state, of every city, of every neighborhood, of NAR rules, TAR rules, whatever state you're in. We trained it on all of the rules, and our agents have access to, and we're going to be improving it in June. I can't even talk about it yet, but Broker AI allows you to get broker advice from an AI bot right inside of our app. And I'll tell you, it did not replace our brokers. What it did is supplement it. It means that our brokers have almost cloned themselves, and they can be 24 hours a day, 7 days a week somewhere. And they test the systems for us. They look at it. They look for problems. They add data to it all the time. And it really streamlines so many things with operations. So I'll give you another example. Being able to talk to it, you can talk to it or chat with it if you want to type. Being able to talk to an AI bot and find out what's going on with your transaction, what's going on with your marketing pieces, what's going on at the company, what the stock price is, all of that stuff right there with an AI instantly, on demand, 24 hours a day, as opposed to sending an email in and waiting for the response Monday afternoon. You could just on Saturday night, I want to know what's going on with this. Being able to have instant access to all the data of the company, of all your transactions, of everything, all right there, just by asking, is just a huge game changer. So it helps you as the end user of that platform, but also helps the company. They're not answering those emails anymore. They don't need to answer those emails. All the data is right there in front of you anytime you want. And so it's a win-win on both sides, operationally speaking.
Yeah, it's great, Josh. And then on our side at realty.com, we're using AI to work with our ISAs. And think about this: if we have 20 ISAs, we can call maybe 5,000 clients a day. With AI, we're able to call thousands and thousands of leads, and we're able to say, "Are you ready to buy or sell? Are you looking for a cash offer?" And we're able to transfer it back to the agents on the platform. And additionally, on top of that, we're able to take people's historical databases of sellers and warm them up of people looking to sell now also. Instead of needing to adding thousands of bodies, it's just usage on the AI and phone time and all that stuff. So there's still a cost, but AI has made it so instead of needing 50 to 100 people in an office, I have about 20 people in an office, and think about if you had an AI calling your entire database every single week, how many more deals that would generate for you guys. So that's really the difference there. You don't need VAs, you don't need anything. And you know, here at Realty, 100% of all your seller transfers are eventually going to be AI generated.
Yeah, absolutely. I know somebody put in the chat that they were concerned about AI answering broker questions. You know, the cool thing about that is if you're concerned about it, then you don't know AI well enough, to be honest with you, because it doesn't always hallucinate. That if you're only using ChatGPT, you should be concerned. But having AI that only tells you the rules, laws, cites them, and then transfers to the broker, and then the broker can actually see all of the responses and everything that's being said as well, really does keep the broker involved, but also makes it very easy for the more simple things that don't require the human nuance necessary. But if you train your AI to not have any hallucinations where it's not making things up, then you won't have that issue. But yeah, no, these are just a few tools, and there's so much that you're going to be able to do with AI in marketing that it would require. Here's the reality: agents are having to spend sometimes tens of thousands of dollars a year on marketing, right? That an AI could do for you. Maybe you can't afford to hire your own marketing guy. Maybe you can't afford to hire one of these marketing people. Fiverr used to be $5. Now it's $500, right? And so to hire somebody to help you do your graphic design, your marketing, so you can get your name out there, so you can get more business. And a free Canva account is not going to cut it anymore. So, you know, but not every agent has that ability. And it means that only the people at the very top can afford to market themselves. AI will actually level that playing field. You can afford an AI subscription to do all of your marketing for you because it's usually very affordable, you know, $15 a month or something, as opposed to having to hire a full-time or even part-time VA can well exceed that in just a few hours. And so, you know, I think that this is actually going to be just like the internet leveled the playing field for companies, internet-based companies, where you can go online, create a company that competes with another big company. I think AI will do that for the average entrepreneur who may not have the budget to hire an entire marketing department, or hire an entire accounting department, or hire an entire transactions team, or hire all of these things that can be done by our VA team. So for the little guy, this is huge because the big guy already has this covered. The big guy has this covered. They got accountants, they have marketing people, they got it all covered. The little guy, that's where they're going to win. So this is actually great for the little guy.
Exactly.
So Veronica, we're talking about a lot of tech. We're talking about infrastructure changes. We're talking about leverage at the end of the day, which is what the game of real estate is, right? It's a leverage game over time. How are you implementing some of these things in your business right now?
I just got off of a webinar with Sisu, and you know, one of the things we talked about was exactly that: simplifying our business, creating more efficiencies in our operation, cutting expenses. We are still in a market, guys, that, you know, we still got about another 18 to 24 months of a shift. You know, I'm a believer that we really need to buckle up right now and make sure that we are more efficient than ever. Our expenses are down. And then the other part that was interesting is I actually went into ChatGPT and I said, and I want to make sure that I'm vulnerable here. Those of you who don't know me, I'm going to get really vulnerable. I said, what am I at risk based on how I run a team today, being a heavy lead portal team? What am I at risk when I see an agent who is, let's say, built a video-centric brand, right? How can teams improve their margins, and how can they become more video-centric so that they have a brand that's evergreen and always working for them, even if an agent leaves the team? So I actually asked AI to destroy my company, destroy my team, and help me bring it to a place where it could be more profitable, it could be more video-centric. So we're utilizing literally this plan to rebuild our team to be more video-centric than be dependent on third-party lead sources, right? But the cool thing here is I'm looking for leverage for the future, that if an agent left my team, right, those assets are still working for us, and the relationship that I exchanged with that agent, whether it was leads from realty.com, leads from our Zillow Flex account, let's say an agent took, a client that we gave them and they turned them into a repeat and referral business, and that agent leaves our team and that client goes with them, that's fine. But the agent was able to give us the leverage of community videos, community hotspot. Someone just said Ken Pozak is a great, right, example, right? These are things that I think, and I want to talk to the agent who's just like me. I have an agent heart. I am an agent first. I want you guys to win in this market and in any market. And to me, I truly believe if you can get more leverage, you can get more time, you can do the things that will keep you in the game for a long time, and you can get market share, you can dominate. You have to get your name out there. You have to get your brand out there in this competitive landscape. So the question is how much more can you do with these tools that are out there now, right? You can do so much more at such a quicker pace and faster. You can get your editing done quicker. There's so many things that you can do, but the end goal is to position you, the agent, as the market dominator. And I want you guys to embrace these tools so that you can go out there and have a brand that isn't just dependent on these third-party lead sources that are charging you 30 to 40%. I want to help you improve your margins. And the one thing that I believe agents should be doing right now is, how do I buy back more time so that I can be the market dominator in my market, and that the assets that I'm putting out there will work for me even when I'm sleeping, even on a different time zone, even when I'm on vacation. So I care about the agent. I care about making sure that our agents have a brand that they love. And as a team, my goal is to build the most video-centric, brand-centric team environment for our agents to feel like we're giving them so much more than just leads. So for me, leverage is super important. And I want to make sure that every single person here makes a decision to say, I'm going to embrace technology, I'm going to embrace AI, but I'm going to make sure that I break through she as well. We talked about that earlier. And I'm the most known agent in my market that brings value, that can be a trusted expert, that by the time the client calls you, because everybody here, I believe we all care about one thing. How do we sell more homes? How do we make more money? How can we get our brand out there? And this is where I think if you just make that decision and embrace technology, embrace whatever your brokerages is doing, and say, regardless of what changes happen, I'm going to be the dominating agent, and I'm going to be okay no matter what market shifts happen. That's how I built my business.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love that, Veronica. And I think you're talking about a lot of things in that quick summary, right? You're talking about embracing technology. You're talking about leveraging. You're talking about better serving clients. Like speed to lead is a real thing, right? As we all know, especially in this business. With that, I want to move to CCP, okay? Clear cooperation policy. I want to talk about that and how that's affected the industry. Lance, Josh, Veronica, you guys want to talk about it? I'm going to drop a quick note in here of what it actually is so everybody knows.
So in the chat, you guys know what CCP is?
Oh, I won't hit send yet.
No, most people don't know what CCP is. Josh or Veronica, do you want to go over it, Josh, or do you want me to?
No, you have the most passionate feelings.
So CCP, it's basically the policy that states that once you put flyers out, you put a sign on the yard, you list a home, within 1 day, you got to put it on the MLS. It's the transparency within our industry. And what's happening right now is there's some larger partners that are trying to get CCP to go away. Like Compass is a huge advocate for CCP going away. And basically what this means is that right now, all the realtors in this room, if we list a home, I'm a realtor myself still, if we list a home and I put a flyer out, I put a sign out, I do anything to publicly advertise that home, within 1 day, I have to put it on the MLS. If this changes, with CCP going away, I no longer need to put it on the MLS. And why do people want this? People want this to try to double side commissions, to try to create private listings, to try to take the listings away from the greater good. Now, myself, I'm a real estate investor, I'm a commercial agent, and I have clients that buy $20 million homes off me still to this day. I sold one of the most expensive homes in San Antonio a couple of years ago, and now they're looking to buy and sell another home. And when I was looking for them, they had a $4 to $6 million price range for another home. There's a problem. There's almost no listings because the local broker there has everything as a pocket listing that's not being advertised. There's no sign out. There's nothing going on. I'm like, there's no inventory here, even though there's like 20 people that want to sell their multi-million-dollar home. So for me, I'm a huge advocate for CCP staying because it's transparency and fairness to all. And if you get a listing, let's say any agent in this room likes a listing. Let's say Veronica gets a listing for $10 million for a home in Orlando, right near Disney, in those those expensive rental homes there. And let's say if you ask an agent, do you want to keep that to yourself? Of course they do. But if you ask a smart customer who's educated, who's made a lot of money over the years, and you ask him, which would you rather do? Do you want me to keep that within my brokerage and show it to no one? Or do you want me to advertise that listing to the world and get you every dollar possible? What do you think the agent's going to say? The agent's going to say, I want to keep it for myself. I want to get two sides. But the customer is going to say, I want my home advertised anywhere. I don't know any customer because Compass and Sotheby's and a lot of people are saying that's the luxury agents that want to keep these like internal circles and all this stuff. I don't know a single customer who's educated that would want their house to not be listed anywhere and basically keep it in this little circle so they get as little money and as little exposure as possible. And Veronica, you want to talk about it a little too?
I mean, you nailed it, Lance. I mean, at the end of the day, we need to think about the consumer, right? Is this what's best for the consumer? And double siding a transaction, it's always giving me the heebie-jeebies. I'm always like, oh my God, I don't want a lawsuit. I actually, on my team, my agents are not actually encouraged to double side. And there's always this, recommendation of making sure that, both parties are represented. But the fact that a listing would not go out to the public, the fact that, we think that that's in the best interest of the consumer, to me, it just doesn't make sense. I've been fighting for even, I helped launch Open Puerto Rico, and that was one of the things that, they do a lot of real estate similar to the States, but there was a part that's the biggest challenge that they have on the island is the amount of agents that don't cooperate and the amount of days on market that those property, I mean, the fact that these houses are not, they're not moving. It's just, to me, it's such a disservice by not putting it out there to the world. And, again, I have my opinion on this and I'm
Yeah.
pro,
Yeah.
I listen, I want to say that there are two sides to this. So the people who are against the clear cooperation policy, they're not individual agents, because I've yet to really come across an individual agent. They may not like NAR. I get that. There's a lot of problems with NAR. NAR is far from perfect, right? And they don't like being fined either, right? So they don't like NAR threatening them with fines. But the reality is that people who are advocating for getting rid of the clear cooperation policy are not advocating on it because of that. They're advocating on it because they want to make double commission. The brokerages themselves want to keep it all internal so that they can double side and make double commission. The agents who are wanting the pocket listings are, when somebody says, hey, I have a buyer, they're like, no, thanks. And they're looking for the buyers who don't have an agent so that they can double side the listing. And at the end of the day, this job, I think we all have forgotten, is a fiduciary responsibility job. And if you don't know what that means you are supposed to put your client's interests ahead of your own interests. Even if it harms you, you're supposed to be able to do it for them. That means sometimes taking less commission. That means sometimes giving up stuff. That means a lot of things. But it means that you have to put your client ahead of yourself. And turning away buyers to your client's listing just because you want to make double commission is violating your fiduciary responsibility. And it is why double siding transactions is not legal in every state, because it does take away that idea that you're representing one person. How can you have fiduciary responsibility to people who are on opposing sides? So you can't have, you can be neutral. I'm not saying you couldn't be neutral. You can be neutral, but how is that a fiduciary responsibility to two people who have opposite interests? One person wants more money, one person wants to spend less. And so yeah, I think the CCP is really important. However, I will say that I don't think that I don't like NAR enforcing it. They have some enforcement problems. They have in the past. They have a lot of other problems with agents and with their fine structures. And so I don't really like that it's NAR running it, and I don't like that it's them levying these fines. But at the end of the day, I guess I'd rather have it than not have it, even though my brokerage would benefit by us having our own private situation, just selling everything internally and all of that stuff. We'd make more money. I always feel as an agent and I'm a realtor, as an agent, I've never double-sided a transaction like Veronica was saying, ever. I've always brought someone else in. And I've never went neutral even because I don't like it. I like to be with my client, and yes, I would like extra commission, but I just can't, it doesn't fit right with my kind of moral compass of how I represent my clients. And I think pushing for that company wide, like some of these brokerages are, I think is just, I don't know, it's just wrong. And it feels like it's really violating this relationship with your clients or with your homeowners.
Well said, Josh. And here's the thing, it gets rid of transparency and then it kills the playing field. So let's say you're a small brokerage, and you've got a 20 agent brokerage in a small town, and then you've got a large brokerage, CCP goes away, and they've got all the listings internal, and you have buyers coming, you can't show them anything because there's no longer any listings on Zillow, there's no longer any listings on the MLS, there's no longer any data accuracy anywhere because everything's a pocket listing now. And what it's really going to do, it's going to hurt the ones and twos, and it's even going to hurt some of the mid-sized teams. And it's only going to help these mega teams, and it's only going to help these mega brokerages and all that good stuff. But so the mega brokerages like EXP are advocating for CCP to stay. It's only these higher end luxury brands and stuff like that are really advocating for CCP to go away. And basically, it really, like, it hurts the consumer. The consumer should have as much exposure as possible when they're going to sell their home. There's no one in this room that would say, when I'm going to sell my home, I have a multi-million-dollar home, I want nobody to see it, and I want to get as little money as possible. I want everybody to see it, and I want to get as much money as possible. And I just don't understand why anyone would advocate to keep it off the portals, keep it off the MLS, keep it internal within their organization. Like, that doesn't get the most value. If you're going to sell your house for that, you might as well just give it to a friend at that point.
Yeah, in 20 years, I think I've only ever seen it once. And it wasn't even mine, it was someone else's. But I do think that the homeowner should be able to opt out of it if they want to. It's their house, you know.
Yeah.
And if they don't want everybody to see what's going on in their house, fine. But I don't think that the agent should be able to choose for them, and they're definitely not the brokerage. You know, if the agent chose for their client, at least they know their client. The brokerage doesn't know the client, right? I don't know every home buyer and seller, our agents do. And so if the homeowner wants to opt out of it, I think they should be allowed to. They are in most places, but not all. And I think that the agent should be able to talk to them, but I don't think the brokerages should be getting involved in this. It really does come from greed, and it comes from a very limited mindset. And I think that it helps the big brokerages and really, really hurts the small brokerages. You know, the reality is that most brokerages, most agents, I think it's like 56% or something, are at privately owned brokerages. And these are the people that would suffer. So we're talking about more than half of our agents being hurt by getting rid of this. And so I just don't think it's great. You know, we created Epique for the little guy. You know, we have all these benefits. It really was designed to help this. We don't have these, like, you know, big, like, crazy groups like the Alpha Group, all that stuff. And that's great, and that works for some business models. It doesn't for us. We created this for the everyday kind of agent, and so that doesn't really align with our vision for sure.
And I know Veronica, EXP is a huge advocate for CCP to stay.
Yeah, I mean, we believe in doing the right thing. And I think doing the right thing for the consumer, just like Josh just mentioned, and let the consumer choose. And you know, it made me think also of, you know, how much also even cash offers have been also a topic of discussion, right? Lance, you and I talk about this all the time. You know, the consumer has the right to choose how they want to sell their home, right? I'm never going to say you have to do it this way, but we are responsible for giving them options, right? And I just feel like by you not putting the property on the market and exposure to every, you know, through every portal or whatever it is that's being distributed, you're taking an option off the table. Now, if someone says, hey, I don't want to sell my home on the open market, that's a different conversation. And you and I have that conversation all the time, Lance, right? How many listing appointments do we go on when someone says, I just want a cash offer, I'm going through a divorce, I don't want anyone to know I'm going through a divorce, I don't want to sign in the yard, get me an alternative. And the consumer works with us because we have alternative ways to sell their home. We embrace that type of option for the consumer. And, you know, we help them navigate through that. Why do you want to go get a cash offer? Why do you not want to go on the market? Tell us a little bit more about that so that we can help you make a better, you know, make the informed decision. But I think consumer choice is always important. And I don't think the brokerages should be the ones to make this decision.
Exactly.
I love it. You guys, we're going to wrap this up to give everybody their day back and you guys your day back. Thank you for sharing with us today. Before we leave, I'd love from each of you just one takeaway for agents to think about after this call. Lance, you want to go first?
Embrace AI and, don't fear the future. And, if CCP goes away, a lot of people are in here at great brokerages and, we'll continue to prosper. But, embrace AI is the best advice I can give.
Veronica?
For me, what I really love is just looking at the screen and seeing the diversity of different brokerages together, coming together to elevate the industry, seeing the chat and how many people are just contributing and just giving back really warms my heart to see that we can come together and elevate the industry together and learn from each other. So Josh, you're lovely. I love learning from you. Ray, you're amazing. And Lance, of course, you're a genius.
Thank you.
Josh, you're up.
How do I follow that? No.
You got to say nice things about Veronica. Isn't that how it works?
Both. Yeah, Veronica's amazing. You guys, she knows she's amazing. And so, but I would say if you're an agent, because we talked a lot about your brokerage, the technology, the changes that's going on. If you're an agent, you either need to get into tech, marry a tech person who can help you, or find a brokerage that's going to do it, because this is the turning point. I don't know if you guys remember some of these turning points when I remember when some people had a VCR and others have a DVD player. Sometimes they had both, it was like in one thing. That was a little turning point in the movie industry. There are these little turning points that happen when things go away and new things become the new model. And I want you to know, or I want you to think about, am I leaning towards a kind of a VHS kind of mindset, or a cassette tape situation? Am I going into MP3s? Am I moving on to the future? There are these little changes that happen in industries, the music industry, the movie industry, and today, right now, the real estate industry is going through a big change. And I want you to think about: are you part of that change? Are you clinging desperately to your old VHS tapes, saying, "I put so much money into this, I can't abandon it now"? And so think about that in your business and how you're moving forward.
I love it. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We'll do this again, and we'll pick another topic.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you
you,
all.
Ray. One last word of advice, Ray.
Yeah.
The right now VAs and all these people are the beeper. AI is the cell phone. It's the best way to think about it.
All right. I'll bust my pager out.
Yeah, exactly.
We got the codes. We got the codes.
Yeah.
That's right.
I know how to write hello. Thank you,
007.
guys.
Thanks, guys.
But
See ya.
Bye, everybody.
bye-bye.